The Galactic Peace Summit was an event spoken of in whispers and legends. Once every 100 years, leaders of the great empires gathered in a hall the size of a continent, floating above the neutral world of Horus Prime. There, war and bloodshed were put aside for one cycle and words became the weapons. The invitation had never been extended to Earth before. Humans were newcomers, barely 2 centuries into faster-than-light travel, still seen as a young species stumbling across the stars. The empires viewed them as reckless, emotional, unpredictable. Some said humanity was unfit for galactic politics. Yet, the Council had sent an invitation. Admiral Thomas Hale, gray-haired and sharp-eyed, held the message in trembling hands. "They want us at the summit," he whispered to the Earth delegation. Around him, diplomats and scholars sat in stunned silence. No one said it aloud, but everyone knew the truth. This was not a gesture of friendship. It was a test. Humanity was invited not to share but to be judged. The galaxy expected them to fail. And so, with a mixture of fear and pride, humanity prepared to step into the spotlight. Horus Prime was a jewel. The Peace Summit's hall was a miracle of engineering, a dome of crystal large enough to hold fleets. Suspended platforms floated in the air, each one carved in the likeness of its empire's symbol: fangs, wings, flames, or stars. The humans arrived last. Their ship was smaller than most, modest in design. As their delegation stepped into the hall, thousands of alien eyes turned toward them. Some were curious. Most were cold. Admiral Hale walked beside Ambassador Elena Marquez, a woman whose calm voice had ended wars on Earth. Behind them trailed scholars, linguists, and cultural envoys. Whispers spread. The primates came. Do they think themselves equal to us? Best keep them quiet. The summit began with speeches. The Sithar spoke of dominance through strength. The Valari sang of unity and harmony. The Uran recited histories of conquest and power. Each empire sought to outshine the other, filling the hall with boasts and veiled threats. When it was Earth's turn, silence fell. Not respectful, but expectant. The humans had no reputation here, no legacy. To most, they were ants given a seat among giants. Ambassador Marquez stepped forward. She bowed, not in submission, but in acknowledgement. Then she began to speak. Her voice carried across the dome, clear and steady. Honored beings of the galaxy, we thank you for this invitation. We come not with power, not with fleets, not with treasures of old. We come only with words. Laughter rippled across alien throats. Words? What could words matter in a galaxy ruled by force? Marquez continued unfazed. On Earth we are young. We have stumbled. We have bled. Our wars nearly consumed us. Yet in our darkest hours, we found strength in something simple: speech. The ability to share hope, to argue, to forgive. Words built bridges where weapons failed. Words saved us when nothing else could. She looked into the crowd. Perhaps you find this small. Perhaps you think us weak. But to humanity, words are stronger than any fleet. Some scoffed. Some remained silent. Yet others leaned forward, curious despite themselves. For the first time in the summit's history, a newcomer had spoken not of dominance, not of glory, but of the fragile, enduring power of communication. The Sithar warlord rose, scales glittering, under the lights. Empty noise, he hissed. Words do not win battles. Empires are forged in blood. Marquez did not flinch. She met his burning gaze. Empires built on blood fade when the rivers run dry. But an idea, a story, that endures. The Valari choir, their voices woven into one, sang mockingly, "And what stories do humans have that the stars should care to hear?" Marquez smiled, faintly. "We have stories of rising from ash, of a people who once swore never again and built peace after fire, of those who dreamed not of conquering the stars but of touching them. Stories of small voices standing before giants and daring to be heard." She gestured toward the crowd. "If you doubt the strength of words, then why are we all here? This Summit is not a battlefield. It is a conversation. You built this hall not for war but for speech. The hall stirred. Murmurs spread. For a moment silence cracked into thought. Day after day the summit continued. Aliens clashed with words sharp as blades. Accusations, threats, and boasts filled the air. Yet whenever the humans spoke, the tone shifted. The scholar Dr. Aaron spoke of Earth's music, how a single melody could unite strangers. The linguist Mei Ling described how human languages carried history in every phrase, proof that memory could live forever in words. But it was Admiral Hale, the soldier, who delivered the most unexpected speech. "I have seen battle," he said, in a voice rough with age. "I have watched ships burn and soldiers fall. I tell you this, the strongest weapon I ever carried was not my rifle. It was the voice of my commander, telling me to rise. It was the cry of a friend, telling me to, hold on. It was the whisper of my child, reminding me why I must survive. Words carried me when strength failed." The hall grew quiet. Even the Jithar did not interrupt. For the first time, the galaxy began to understand. Humanity was not here to boast, but to remind. But peace is never simple. On the fourth day, tensions erupted. The Uran accused the Velari of betrayal, the Jithar threatened invasion, and the summit teetered on collapse. Old wounds reopened. Voices turned into roars. It was chaos. Amid the storm, Ambassador Marquez stood. She raised her voice, not loud but steady. Enough. The word cut through the hall like a blade. Thousands of eyes turned. She spoke with quiet fire. "You sit in this sacred hall and speak of peace, yet you prepare for war at every breath. You call yourselves mighty, yet you are ruled by fear. What is the worth of your fleets if you cannot hear one another? What is the worth of your power if your people live only in shadow?" Her words echoed. "We humans are small beside you, yet we know this. Peace is not built by silence. It is built by listening. You want victory? Then master the hardest art of all, not conquest but understanding." Silence followed, not hostile but heavy. The storm had stilled, if only for a moment. The summit ended not with treaties nor with promises, but with something rarer: reflection. The Jithar did not bow, but their warlord's eyes held respect. The Velari did not sing mockery, but a softer tone, contemplative. The Uran did not boast, but withdrew in thought. And the humans? They left the hall not with power seized, but with something far greater: recognition. For though humanity had no fleets vast enough to rival the empires, no treasures ancient enough to buy loyalty, they had done what none expected. They stole the spotlight not with weapons, but with words. As their ship departed Aurus Prime, Admiral Hale looked back at the shimmering hall. "They invited us to judge us," he said quietly, "but they left remembering us." Ambassador Marquez smiled faintly. "Sometimes all it takes is a voice that refuses to be silent." And in the endless night of the galaxy, humanity's voice had been heard.